Hello all you lovely people who live in my phone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do an easy, simple door wreath. This actually anybody could do. They're very easy to make, I think. I'm not an expert at them, so please don't judge, but this is how I do them. So this sign I got from Temu. I have got a Temu haul video if you want to go and watch that. It's in the, I'll try and link it in the description actually. So I'm using this copper wire frame that I got off Etsy. I have noticed that they've got some in the range in the UK, so if you want one you can go and pick one up there. I'm using some gold mesh. It's the 20-inch mesh that I'm using. Some pipe cleaners that I got from the range and different wired ribbons. So what I try and do is I try and match the wired ribbon with the colours on the sign. So I've got purple, I've got blue because there's a little bit of blue on there. I've got some baubles because, you know, baubles are not just for Christmas, guys. These are also from Temu, so they're a fabric rather than a glitter ribbon, and they're in the orange colour. I've also got, I'm just grabbing it now because I'm downstairs in my living room because it's way too hot upstairs in the bedrooms. I've got this lovely green with purple and orange spots on it, and then just some green and black fabric. So I decided to use all the glitter actually, because I thought that would look nice. So here is some wire to wire the actual sign onto the frame. I don't actually know what the size of the wire is, but I got that from the range. And just some, what are they called? What are they called, guys? Oh, I can't remember. And a glue gun. So to start off, what I do is, this is a 10-inch wreath frame. I think they're mainly supposed to be used for like using with Oasis for dried flowers, but I tend to use them for these wreaths. So I'm just getting some pipe cleaners together. So I want, for the outside edge, what I do is I do 8 on the outside edge and 6 on the inside edge. And I want these to match the actual colour of the sign as well, because I will be doing something with those, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then I'm picking 6 of these other ones out to put inside. Now you can do 8 and 8, it's entirely up to you, but I tend to do 8 and 6. So I'll just quickly show you here how I actually fasten them onto the frame. So what I tend to do is, the frame has 4 bars on. So for the first 4, I actually use those bars, and I basically twist the pipe cleaner around the bars just to make him very secure, so I know that these ones are not going to move anywhere when I start putting on the mesh. So I just basically twist it round, and then I go over that with some hot glue just to secure it in place. Just remember, guys, with the hot glue, it's very hot. It's really hot, so just be careful. I've got myself a couple of times with hot glue, so please do be very careful with it. So once I've got the 4 on, I then go just in the middle of each of them. I'm sorry if you could hear my stomach then, excuse me. I just go in the middle and basically put the remaining 4 pipe cleaners in the middle. So I just twist them round, and as you'll see this time I'm leaving them open, and I put the glue over the top of the pipe cleaner, and then I go ahead and I twist it again just to make sure that it stays secure. So once the outside is complete, I can then start in the middle. So if you was doing the 8, you could just go in the middle basically of all the other ones. But because I'm doing the 6, I just tend to lay them out randomly, play it by eye and see where I want to position them. But I do use the same technique, so I just twist it around the actual frame, go over the pipe cleaner with the glue, and then I give it another twist. So once they're all complete, I just let it dry for a couple of minutes, and it will stick to a surface. So don't worry about that, you can just pick it up. And don't worry if they start moving about, because once you start putting on the actual mesh, you can sort them out then. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pushing the inside pipe cleaners into the middle, because I'm going to start from the outside. So this mesh I actually got last year from Costco, believe it or not. So Costco were selling wired ribbon, and they were selling mesh. I think for 3 rolls of the 20-inch mesh, it was something silly like £8, which was unbelievable. But you can get it off Etsy, you can get it off Amazon, you can get it in 10-inch rolls. It's entirely up to you. There are different methods you can use for putting the mesh onto the wreath frame. I do this like puff technique. So I start off, I make sure that it's kind of straight, so it's kind of in it, and you know, it's all matching. I don't want it to pull one way when I'm putting it onto the wreath. So I then use and I still can't remember what these are called, but I use one anyway to secure it to the wreath, just making sure it's tight so that it doesn't move. And as you'll see, I put it over the top of one of the actual pipe cleaners, so that'll be my starting point, and I'll come back and I'll finish at that pipe cleaner. So I just make sure it's secure, and then I make sure as well that it's it's facing inwards, if you know what I mean. You'll see now. So I turned the mesh over and made sure that it was like facing downwards, so to speak. So what I do is I pull along the length of the mesh, and I want 10 inches. So I'm just going to measure out 10 inches, and then I'll actually go along and I will secure that into the next pipe cleaner along. So I just open up the pipe cleaner, put down the mesh, and I'll twist the pipe cleaner 3 or 4 times just to make sure that's secure. And then I'll do that all along the outside of the wreath, just measuring 10 inches, opening up the pipe cleaner, popping it in, and then securing it down. Don't worry about puffing out the mesh at this point. You'll start, the first time I ever did it, it took me so long because I basically wanted to puff out every single one of these puffs, and it just doesn't work. So you're better off doing it at the end. But just go along 10 inches, pop it into the pipe cleaner, twist the pipe cleaner over it to secure it 3 or 4 times, and then that's fine. Do that all the way around until we want to move up onto the second row. So now we've come back to the start again. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling the mesh and I'm going to put it onto the next row on the wreath frame. Now you can use one of the, still can't remember what they're called, or you can just simply use the pipe cleaners, which I did there. And then I'm just going to do the same technique again, measure out 10 inches and then put it into the pipe cleaner. Make sure it's secure by wrapping it round 3 or 4 times, and then do that all the way around. Now I do at some point, and I still can't figure out where I do it, I do actually miss one of the pipe cleaners, but don't worry about anything like that. We're putting embellishments onto the mesh, so it doesn't matter. This is just to basically puff out the wreath. The wreath at the end does end up about 20 inches by 20 inches, so I mean, it does double in size, so don't worry about any missed areas that you might miss. Don't worry about the mesh, to be honest with you, because like I said, we're going to put embellishments on it. You can hardly see the mesh once it's complete. So here I'm just making sure that everything's secure because we've come to the end. And then what I do is I basically just cut off the mesh. You only need to leave a little bit on the end, and then we're going to secure that underneath with one of the zip ties. Yay! We're just going to secure that to make sure that it doesn't move anywhere. So what I'll do with the zip tie here, once I've cut it, I actually push the actual pointy bit underneath because we don't want that scratching the door. You can actually put like a mat on the back of it, a placemat, secure it to the back of the wreath once it's done so it doesn't scratch your door. I didn't do that on this one, but hopefully on the next one I'll show you how to do that. So basically now we're just going round and we're puffing out the puffs of mesh. So I'm just putting my hands in there. That's where I discovered that I'd missed one. So I'm just going to push that down. We're just going round. Yeah, I missed one there. So I'm just going to push that back. We're going round and we're basically pulling out the puff part of the mesh, just making it nice and big and making it so that you can't see the wreath frame really. It depends what mesh you use sometimes. I've used some mesh that are white and you can see the wreath frame through it. But at the end, once we've got all the ribbons and everything on it, you can't see it. So we're just puffing it out, making it as big as we can. So now we're going to attach the sign. So I was looking at the sign, and because it's quite long, I thought to myself, right, well, I'm going to squeeze the frame a bit and make it oval instead of round. So basically what I do is I just grab the sides of it and I squeeze it in to make it more oval shape than round. That way it's longer and actual sign fits on it better. So signs, they're my pet hate, they really are. So to prepare it, this has already got holes in it, which is great. You can actually get like a hole puncher to put holes in the signs if you've not got any. I've been known to get a nail and a hammer and just hammer a nail through it. So don't worry about that. So yeah, so we got some of this wire. Like I said, I can't remember what gauge it was. But what I did, I just measured that out in 12 inches, probably too much for each one, but it does have to get through, remember, all that mesh to get to the frame to be secured. So I just cut 4 pieces of that off, 1 for each corner. And then I basically thread it through. So I thread it through the sign and like double it over and then just twist it. So I'll show you here. So we're just going to thread it through and then just fold it over and then twist. And that just makes sure that the wire is secured to the frame. So once we've got all the wire on the actual side, I then bring back the wreath. Now, for this one, I wanted it to go in the middle straight. It doesn't go in the middle straight. Like I say, signs are my pet hate. You have to wire them on, obviously, and it's difficult to do. I'm faffing here, as you can see, just faffing about. I find it difficult to get them on in the position they want. So what I tend to do is I just put it on and then I hold it up later on to have a look at it. I'm sorry, my stomach's growling away here. So basically what we're going to do is, it's like now I turn it over and then I move the actual wreath afterwards. So it doesn't sit in the position that I want it to sit in. So anyway, so we get the actual wire that's attached to the sign and then you're basically just feeding it through the mesh. You can put it through it, it doesn't matter. You can reach in between the actual poof bits if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but we push it through so that it reaches the frame, and then what we'll do is we'll turn it over and just twist it around the frame. So what I tend to do is I twist it round, not tightly to start with, just in case I want to move it again, because if you wrap it around too tight, you're either going to cut your fingers open trying to get it off, or you're going to have to cut it off and start again. So I just do it very lightly, just a couple of twists just to secure it in, and you can actually then reach through and grab the other sections of wire as well. Or you can again turn it over, position it where you want it to be, and then feed the wire through. So once we've got it all wired in, what I tend to do is I do have a permanent hanger over the door, and I just go and pop it on there and have a look at the position of it. If I do need to change it, I can actually change it there, but I did like where it was, so I left it. So here, as you can see, I've changed positions of the camera, and you can hear Willow panting in the background. It's quite warm again this morning, so if you can hear her, I do apologise. So I'm just picking out the ribbons that I wanted. So like I said, I went with all the glitter ribbons. I thought they would look nice. So I'm just measuring out 12 inches of each ribbon. Now you can get a ribbon roller. I'll show you my like fake one in a moment, but any crafters out there, any resin artists who can actually make moulds, this might be a good idea for selling. So I'm doing the 12 inches here, so I'm just cutting them. But if you have a ribbon roller, like I'll show you in a little bit, you can actually roll it around the ribbon roller. I use an actual paint stick, but if you can make moulds, it might be a lovely thing to make for wreath makers. Anyway, I'm going off track. So here I'm just cutting what we call the fishtail. So I'm folding the ribbon over, and then I'm cutting from the middle towards the wire edge just to make that fishtail. Now this is the paint stick that I was talking about, so I tend to use this because it's just under 12 inches long, but it's fine. And then I basically just wind the ribbon around it, and it makes it so much quicker and so much easier. I just count how many that I need. So for this I needed 6. For the actual green ribbon I did 14, because I'm going to do alternate green and blue and then green and purple, so I need double the actual green ribbon, because one is going to go into each of the pipe cleaners. So as you can see, that was a lot quicker, and I'm just getting it all together, folding it over and cutting it from the middle towards the wire edge to create the fishtail. So the ribbon that I get, guys, I find it really hard to get wired ribbon in the UK. It is getting better. You can get it on Etsy and on Facebook pages and things like that. They also sell it around Christmas time in B&Ms and Home Bargains and things. But when I first started out, I actually was ordering some from abroad, well, mainly from America. Now this is a roll that I got from America, and look at that. You do occasionally get this where the roll might be damaged. So this is obviously a manufacturing error which wasn't spotted, and it was basically the whole roll, but it was the only roll I had left. So I do end up using it, and obviously that means that you couldn't possibly sell this wreath, and I've no intention of selling it. I'm going to put this on my own door for Halloween. But you do get this occasionally, and if you do get this, I mean, I've had this for some time now, but normally if you contact your supplier and just send them some pictures, they will actually replace it, because it's not their fault, it's a manufacturing error. And occasionally you get a split roll as well, so you might be halfway through cutting your ribbon and then suddenly it stops and starts again, but don't worry about that. So again, I'm just using my paint stick, and it is a lot quicker doing it this way and just creating the fishtails. And then what I'll do is I'll put them together, and I do one green, one blue, one green, one purple, and carry on like that, ready for when we're going to put it on the wreath. So basically what we're going to do now to get them onto the wreath is we're just going to lay them on top of each other. So it's normally best to have 2 different coloured ribbons, and fold it over in the middle, squash it down, open it back up, and then just fold it towards itself in the middle so it forms that bow shape. And then we're basically just going to fasten that into the actual pipe cleaner. Now, you control the ribbon doesn't control you. It can get frustrating sometimes with the ribbons, but just pull them. Don't be afraid to pull them apart and move them about and put them in the position that you want them to be in. So I'm just splaying them out here. So I'm putting the green towards the bottom, the purple towards the top, And then what I'll do is on the next one, I'll put the coloured ribbon, the blue towards the bottom and the green towards the top. And then we'll go around and we'll do that all the way around the wreath. So this is actually a different day. I'd put the wreath away and I'm just coming back to it now and just finishing off. So I'm just carrying on putting the ribbons around the wreath where I want them. So then once that was finished and I got all the ribbons in, what I did was with the leftover pipe cleaners, you can actually cut them off or you can tuck them in, but I wanted to use them as like an embellishment on the wreath. So basically got a glue stick and I rolled around the glue stick. Now there I did cut my thumb, sliced it open on the end of the pipe cleaner, so just be careful. And what I do with these ones is I actually split them open, so they were a double twist pipe cleaner. So I untwist them and then I basically roll it around the glue stick and it forms a really nice like four-way little embellishment for the wreath. So this is what it looks like at the minute, guys. So as you can see, it's very sparkly in this light and it looks really nice. The little pipe cleaners, they look like a little added embellishment on there. You can see the lines in that purple ribbon, but I'm not worried about that. It's only going on my door, so it doesn't matter. So you could actually leave it like this, or you could add, I've still got the baubles to add, but you can add whatever you want. You could add bats, you could add cats, you could add little mice. You can actually add whatever you want. So here are the baubles. Like I say, baubles are not just for Christmas. You can use them all year round, I should say. So again, this is a different day, and yes, I have got my pyjamas on, and yes, they don't match, and yes, one of them is a Christmas pyjama. But basically all I'm doing here is I'm adding lots of glue to the end of the actual bauble, and make sure that there's plenty of glue on there, because obviously winter in October in the UK, it's cold, it's wet, occasionally it can be very frosty, so just make sure that you've got lots of hot glue on there. Now you won't actually see me sticking these on because I do have to walk over to the door and no one wants to see my fat bum waddling to the door. So here it is, the finished version. And what do you think, guys? I've hung it so that the the sign is actually on a tilt, and I much prefer that to it being straight actually. So you can actually hang it in different way afterwards. And I did the baubles in like a triangle pattern, so I just used 3 and I hung, sorry, I didn't hang them, I glued them into like a triangle pattern. So what do you think? Please let me know what you think, and please do like, the video if you do like it, and if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot. Just some close-ups here of the baubles and the pipe cleaners, just to show you how they were. So right guys, thanks for watching this, and hopefully I'll see you soon, and hopefully Willow will too. Bye.